G'day guys, Mac with the Outer Circle, and this is a video on basically Legion Imperialis. I still don't like that name because it feels like it should say like Legiones Imperialis, but Legions Imperialis, something weird about that name. Anyway, I'm already getting sidetracked. We're like 10 seconds into the video, so this bodes well for the rest of the video, doesn't it? Now, I put up a post on our YouTube the other day, just in the community section and on our Facebook page, just talking about this particular post, because what had happened was a release image of this popped up. And I was going to sort of leave it there, because a mistake was made. They included the wrong units in it and basically had to do a bit of a retraction of sorts. The retraction, it wasn't its own article or anything like that. It was just this sentence added down the very bottom here. So, okay, cool, blink and you'll miss it. But that's not what stood out to me in this situation, okay? Mistakes happen, and mistakes are forgivable. I don't really consider this false advertising. I know there were some more vocal people saying that, this is false advertising, they should get in a lot of trouble for it, because the picture they showed, flash it up on screen now, was of a bunch of KRATOS tanks and such, also included in here at the price point, which obviously they're not. And a lot of people saw this and then was brought to the attention of the people at Warhammer Community, and they didn't fix it for, long enough for a lot of hype to get built up. And then it was immediately deflated. Now, I didn't want to initially do a video on it. I could have done it 2 days ago, okay? Time of recording, it's in the evening in Australia after work on Wednesday night. So it's not like this has been in the long production schedule pipeline, and it's quite a disorganized and disjointed video because of it. But hey, such is life. Wasn't planning to make the video, because if you look at the sort of content I've been putting out lately, there's pretty much nothing you would call like anti-Games Workshop behavior. Fixing Games Workshop down here, that was the last time I really spoke about their business practices, and that was 2 months ago. So everything since then is all being range reviews, talking about different products, resin reviews, 3D printing information, all sorts of things, right? But there was a couple videos I put out on Legions Imperialis. These two, a follow-up to this video here as well. So 2 videos, and it was basically just talking through the price point and the delays and the issues I see revolving around it, which I think is what I call fair and reasoned critique, which is anathema to many people in this consumer-driven player base, unfortunately. And in the video, this particular video here, when I spoke about it, I also mentioned in there the price of, the list. And basically I said it's going to be over £800, or €800, in fact, to make this Blood Angels list. And people said, oh, that's not true, that's not true. Well, here is the list. And I can give you some of the prices in pounds, because I know them. The boxed set, £120. KRATOS Squadron, 30. The Astartes Infantry, 30. The Rhino Transport Detachment, another 30. What about the Reaver Titan in there? Well, that's $37.50. And that's just with the Melt Cannon Chain Fist. So, the price? Yeah, just the Reaver, 2 starter sets, because you would need at least 2 starter sets for this force. It wouldn't even get you all of the Predators and Sicarans. You would need probably 3 starter sets, maybe 4, plus some additional booster packs of equipment. The KRATOS, I think they're sets of 4. You'd have to get a couple of those sets. Even with just the KRATOS, 2 starter sets and the Reaver alone, we've already reached 400 British pounds. So, if you think I was lying about the price point, there you go. Now, to get back to this original sort of a topic that I was talking about here, with this and the fumble of showing the wrong stuff included in the box and the consequent morale drop that occurred related to that, I picked on it. And I pick on it because companies should be doing better. it's not that we don't make mistakes. We do. We're human. We all make mistakes. But the scale of the mistake and the situation, well, it's one thing for me to make a mistake, especially on this channel. Okay, it's a side thing that I do for my hobby, a side gig, as it were, that I do for my own personal enjoyment. And for advocating on behalf of you, the people who watch the videos, to try and get you your miniatures for cheaper and, better written rules and all these sort of things. And of course, I've failed spectacularly at all of this, but it wasn't going to stop me from trying, because trying is better than doing nothing. And I make these little videos and such, and when I make mistakes, I do my best to fix them. I'll put pinned comments in there and stuff like that. But it's a very different thing for me to go out to 25,000 subs and make a mistake versus the billion-dollar company. Because yes, it is an innocent person at the end of the day. I definitely want to think it's not malicious making these mistakes. But it has to go through multiple channels. And I pick on it because I pick on Games Workshop, because I believe they are not a professional company. I believe that they're an unprofessional company which has lucked into success in spite of their many failings in corporate management. Now, opinions will vary on how true that statement is, but I think it's a terribly nepotistic, mismanaged company where the fact that basically, in short terms, the dumb nerds will buy whatever they're told to buy. And they succeed not because they bring out the best products at the best time, but because they throw so much stuff at the wall and they prey on the hype and the FOMO that people just buy into it, and they buy box sets and miniatures they don't need. Okay? It's just an addictive thing, and the FOMO, all of it, is a big psychological thing going on there, right? They're really good at that manipulation side of things. But I think as a business, they could be so much better run than they are, but they're successful anyway. Okay? And it's things like this that show it, because a really switched on company would have noticed the error before it was published. Now, you could argue, okay, what if they don't have multiple people and departments that have to approve something before it goes up? Maybe that's what happened. It didn't go through an approvals process because there was none. Well, then you say, why does a $1 billion worth company not have an approvals process? See, none of these situations look good for the company. That's why I put up a post. Because the transparency, the optics of this situation is bad. Because the company is awfully run. Okay, and this is my personal bias. Okay, so don't feel like I'm preaching to all of you and I'm 100% right. No, they might be incredibly professionally run. They're just really unlucky. Okay, that could be what happens, but I don't think so. And especially when we look at their investor reports and we see the language that they use. I mean, this company thinks that the number one threat to them in their financial reports is the staff in their stores and their middle management level. They think that's the number one threat to the company, is the relationship between like customers and that middle management. It's not 3D printing, like especially with this game, for example. This is just 3D printing in a nutshell. This is your competitor. What about other companies out there, okay? What about different forms of IP out there? It just seems like they've got if we don't bring it up in our reports, we bury our heads in the sand. Even though we, Games Workshop, make all of our miniatures in a 3D printer, all our masters, no one else could possibly replicate that at home. It's just crazy to me that this is how the company's run. So that's why I put a post up on it. Not because I think a person should be fired. I don't believe that. Nobody should be losing their job over something so minor, because it is minor. But it's minor in comparison to all of the problems in the world. It is still a major issue for a corporation. Okay, a corporation worth as much as this one supposedly is, I think personally, hyperinflated. And again, things we saw in the financial reports and how they've been doing internationally and the constant price rise. I mean, they stuck in a bunch of price rises with the new website. I don't know if people noticed it. I did. $5 and $10 price rises here and there all over the place with a new website. Cost of living crisis, global housing shortages, horrible jobs market at the moment, but sure, price rises. That's what everyone wants to stay in the hobby. You know, this attitude of, fuck the customer, we're Games Workshop, we can get away with it, just seems to pervade everything. And when you do something like put out this thing, you get it so awfully wrong in your promo work, people get really excited because they think, geez, I'm actually getting a lot more bang for my buck with 4 Kratos in here as well, because they'd be worth quite a bit of points in the game, you know, getting a good bit out of it. Maybe that makes this long delay of many months and this drip feed of information worth it. And then they get told, actually, no, that was wrong. But you only know it if you read this like little fine print, because anyone who called us out on being wrong on the original post, we sort of deleted that because we don't need the bad optics. You know, I think it's very poor, okay? And I think you can probably tell that from, hopefully the disappointment in my voice does break through, because I'm not angry. I don't get angry at Games Workshop, okay? I don't have that kind of emotion. I'm passionate about Games Workshop products. I've been in Warhammer more or less for 30 years now. You know, on and off with this hobby, getting so into it. And I talk about it because I care. But I'm beyond anger. There's no point in getting angry about it with toy soldiers. It's just put the company in my hands for a few months and we'll see what can we turn around. Probably nothing, because there are so many people who should be fired but are probably a protected species within the company. But, you know, look at the talent. Look at the talent that has left Games Workshop. Anytime anyone sort of gets a little bit of clout with the company, they're gone. You know, what does that tell you about them? Straight away. And look, I don't mean this to be I know it's turned into it, but this is not meant to be a bashing Games Workshop video. It's just meant to point out, like, it's not about salt, okay? It's what is the actual thing happening in this scenario, okay? Because people like to say, you're just salty, Mac, you're just salty, all right? You've all heard it a million times, me talk about how much we get called salty and how much we're told we hate the hobby and never do anything, you know? And like I say, I've been going out of my way to try and put out just constant content that's anything but salty for months now, okay? So the effort's been there, talking about events, talking about creating miniatures and conversions and army lists and all sorts of things. Going out of my way to do that. But I want to talk facts, and the facts are the company showed an image of the incorrect product. In order for that image to be shown in the first place, it had to go through multiple approvals channels. If it didn't go through multiple approvals channels, then what is the professionalism like at this company if they don't have a plan in place when marketing their product is just so important? Okay? And then once they got out there with this incorrect information, and they were alerted to it because they didn't recognize the problem. It was people brought the problem to them. Once they understood the problem, they then pulled down the picture, put up a new one, and then put a single sentence explanation in here. Actually, 2 sentences. I apologize. See, I make mistakes. Fire me. They put in this little 2 sentence down the bottom to just say, oh yeah, by the way, you put up the wrong image before. And that was the end of it. And at the same time as all this is happening, product is delayed for several weeks in Australia and New Zealand, probably because of warehouse reshuffling. Nothing, no evil mustache twirling going on in the background, anything like that. Just regular production and warehousing woes that affect all companies. Fine, I live with that. That is normal, okay? This stuff, the stuff that happens on a computer screen, that's just a matter of what file was selected from what folder, that's different. And the fact that they had an image of exactly this, but with 4 Kratos in it, that raises other questions. Was that a bundle? Like, that's just so coincidental. If that's what they came up with, was that picture of what was in that? I think it's exactly the same as this, but with literally just 4 Kratos at it. That is way too coincidental that those 4 miniatures would make their way into it and be photographed and make their way into this promotional material, into the folder where it was kept, whatever it may be, and absolutely nothing else was changed. That's just really, really odd. Like, maybe they originally planned to package the Kratos in there and decided that no, then it would be too high a value in this box, let's pull that, or something else, I'm not sure, because they photograph all of these kits separately. Okay, this is not, in fact, if you look at this picture alongside the the incorrect one, you'll see that it's the exact same images. They've just moved a few units around digitally. They're still in the exact same area. It's the tanks up the back, basically. They moved the Melkador to occupy the leftmost Melkador to occupy where the Kratos tanks were. But other than that, it's the identical picture, which is really, really bizarre. How do we end up in that situation? I have many questions here, and personal bias, I bring it all back to an inept company, ineptly managed company that succeeds in spite of the fact that it's poorly managed. Anyway, could be totally wrong, blowing smoke, don't care. Back with the outer circle, comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.